As I dive deep into the murky waters of old Hollywood to uncover its darkest secrets, can I unveil the truth behind these legendary films? Old Hollywood, the land of stars, glamour, and magic. We've all been captivated by the allure of this bygone era, where icons like Marilyn Monroe, James Dean, and Audrey Hepburn ruled the silver screen. But behind the bright lights and red carpets, there existed a world of darkness, deceit, and exploitation. From the 1920s to the 1960s, Hollywood's golden age was built on a foundation of make-believe, where the lines between reality and fantasy blurred. The public was fed a diet of glitz and glam, but the truth was far more sinister. The American dream was peddled to the masses, while those living it were suffocating under the pressure. We idolize these Hollywood legends, but do we really know the true cost of their fame? The tabloids and gossip columns only scratch the surface, hiding the seedy underbelly of the film industry. So buckle up and get ready to have your illusions shattered as we delve into the darker side of old Hollywood. In the spotlight, movie stars shone bright, but behind the scenes they were mere puppets on strings, controlled by the powerful studio moguls. Actors and actresses seemingly living the dream were often bound by ironclad contracts. These ruthless agreements dictated their every move, from their roles to their personal lives. Salaries were a pittance compared to the astronomical profits raked in by the studios. And as for creative freedom, it was a luxury few could afford. The dream of artistic expression was often crushed by the demands of commercial success. Actors were mere commodities, exploited for their talent and beauty, with their mental and physical health taking a back seat. The pressure to maintain a flawless image was suffocating. Stars were forced to conform to unrealistic beauty standards, and those who refused were labeled as difficult or uncooperative. The constant scrutiny, the endless pressure, and the impossible expectations took a toll on their mental health. The likes of Marilyn Monroe, Judy Garland, and Clark Gable struggled with addiction, depression, and anxiety, their struggles hidden from prying eyes. In this cutthroat industry, friendships were forged and broken, alliances were formed and torn apart, the claws were out, and everyone was fighting for survival. The glamorous premieres and after-parties were just a smokescreen for the backstabbing, the gossip, and the sabotage. Hollywood was, and still is, an industry built on manipulation, where power-hungry moguls played God with careers and lives. It was a world of make-believe, where the truth was distorted and the lies were perpetuated. The line between reality and fantasy was constantly blurred, leaving even the most discerning minds confused. Stars were manufactured, and their images were carefully crafted to appeal to the masses. The public was fed a diet of wholesome, all-American values. But behind closed doors, the industry was rotten to the core, the corruption was rampant, and the cover-ups were expertly executed. One of the most egregious examples of this corruption was the infamous Hollywood Blacklist. During the Red Scare of the 1950s, hundreds of industry professionals were accused of being communist sympathizers, their careers ruined, and their lives destroyed. The witch hunt was orchestrated by the House Un-American Activities Committee, and the film industry rolled over, sacrificing its own to save face. The major studios colluded with the government to blacklist suspected communists, often on flimsy evidence or hearsay. The likes of Charlie Chaplin, Orson Welles, and Dalton Trumbo were hounded, their names dragged through the mud, their careers in tatters. It was a dark period in American history, and Hollywood was complicit in the destruction of lives and reputations. Another scandal that rocked the industry was the sad tale of Frances Farmer. A talented actress, Farmer was committed to a mental institution, subjected to electroshock therapy, and forced to undergo a lobotomy. Her descent into madness was hastened by the cruel treatment meted out to her by the very people who were supposed to care for her. It's a harrowing tale of abuse, neglect, and exploitation, one that raises uncomfortable questions about the treatment of women in Hollywood. But perhaps the most shocking secret of all is the long history of pedophilia and child abuse that permeated the industry. From the 1920s to the 1980s, countless child stars were exploited, abused, and silenced. The likes of Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, and Shirley Temple were mere children when they were thrust into the spotlight, their innocence lost to the whims of powerful men. One of the most high-profile cases was that of Judy Garland, who was systematically abused by MGM executives, including Louis B. Mayer. Garland's struggles with addiction, depression, and anxiety were direct consequences of the trauma she suffered at the hands of these powerful men. Her life was a tragic testament to the dark underbelly of Hollywood. The cases of abuse, exploitation, and corruption that we've discussed today are just the tip of the iceberg. Old Hollywood was a dirty, rotten system that consumed the lives of those who dared to enter its gates. It's a tale of broken dreams, shattered lives, and the devastating cost of fame. As we conclude this journey into the darkest recesses of old Hollywood, it's clear that the glamour and glitz were just a facade. Behind the bright lights and red carpets lay a sinister world of manipulation, exploitation, and abuse. The next time you watch a classic movie from the Golden Age, remember the dark truths that lurked beneath the surface. So which scandal surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out my other videos on true crime history. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay curious.